In today's video, we are going to talk about what can you choose for your design work and your design inspiration. Should you listen to music to relax yourself, or should you listen to podcasts to learn something new while you're designing? Hey designer, Alex here, welcome to the channel, and in this video we are going to talk about music versus podcasts while you're designing. Some people like to design in complete silence, and that's completely fine. Other people like to blast music through the headphones. Other people like to listen podcasts. Maybe some people like to play movies in the background. It really does depend from person to person, so I can only share my personal opinion and my personal preferences. So personally, for me, if I need to do something which is extremely complicated, which requires me to think while I work, so when I'm creating something completely new from scratch, and especially those first parts of the project when you have to think everything through, when you're starting to put wireframe things, when you, for example, do wireframes on paper and then you transition to software, in my case Adobe XD, those things I like to do with music or even sometimes in silence, because it really does depend on the project, how big it is, how the amount of screens I have, the amount of information I need to put down in those screens, especially if I'm doing some complex app design work. However, if I'm doing something which is repeating itself, for example, adding images to the project I'm already done with basically, or I'm adding some different grids, or I'm adding some different elements, or even making changes to the existing designs, then I really like to listen to podcasts. And podcasts are great because you can always pick up a few things and tips here and there while you are working, and it can actually go into your head so you can remember it for the next time when you start the project or you're doing something different. Then you pick up that tip while you listen to that podcast. Podcasts are also great while you're driving to work, while you're riding your bike or simply walking. You can always take podcasts with yourself because it's basically an MP3 file if you're downloading it, or if you have internet connection, then you can simply listen through all of these online platforms. Now, for the style of music, it really depends from person to person. My personal preference is this right here. So I really like to play this hip hop radio. So I really just play it in the background. I really don't think about it. And they do all the changing of the tracks, so I don't have to compile all of those playlists. I also like to listen to Jamiroquai, and it really calms me down and it really puts me in the mood for the project I am in. I like to listen to classical house, for example, so just really that chill house. I don't like that big tempo because, as I said, I really like to relax myself while I work. As for the podcasts, it really does depend on how much time do I have in the project, but there are really 4 different podcasts which I really like. Number 1 is Honest Designers Show. It's hosted by Tom from Design Cuts, and that team is extremely great, and I sell my products with Tom on Design Cuts website, and I already participated in some of their bundles. So that's when I learn from them, and they are really great, and you can learn some extremely valuable tips and tricks. There are basically 4 people inside that podcast sharing their opinions, and there are also sometimes guests in those podcasts, so it can really benefit you as a designer to learn a thing or two from these experienced designers. Podcast number 2 is Paul Jarvis, and Paul Jarvis is this extremely great designer which is basically in this podcast game for years now, and he really has these amazing podcasts. I will link everything I speak about below this video in the description so you can check them out. But basically he does these podcasts from time to time. He really pops out of nowhere, basically starts a new podcast, then fills it out with information, and basically everything which is on his mind he then records into podcasts and put it up there for people to listen. Then he just disappears, does whatever else which is on his mind, and then once again when he wants to start a new podcast he will do it all over again. I will link some of his podcasts right here below in the description of this video so you can check it out. But he also has great books which you can purchase if you want to. He also has courses, so you can check them out if you want to. So he's really this multidisciplinary guy and really great designer, and really a pioneer in this sort of podcast world because he started his podcast way back, years back. Podcast number 3 is Adobe's creative sessions, usually on Behance, but they also have YouTube channel, and I will link both of them down below so you can check them out. And they're really great because sometimes they will rock this long session, for example 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and they will split it sometimes into 2, 3, 4 parts, and they will invite all of these great designers to share their tips. So they're actually designing, but while they are designing, this interviewer guy asks them question, and they will answer questions about design, about their careers, about their progress, about their design work, sometimes about freelancing and so on. So you can really pick up some great advices here and there while you listen to them. You don't have to watch entire video if you don't want to. You can simply listen to the audio. You can play it on Behance or on their YouTube channel in the background, and you can simply relax, do your work while they are speaking about their work. So not every video from this series is great, and sometimes there can be distractions, but there is also some great background music, and I really enjoy from all of those people. Howard Pinsky, and he's really great guy, and I follow him for years. He has this YouTube channel which was called Ice Flow Studio, now it's just called Howard Pinsky, and I will leave it down in the description below. But he also has these great sessions because he works for Adobe XD and he's a senior evangelist there, and he gives these great tips and tricks, especially when there are new updates to Adobe XD. So you can always check him out on Twitter, because right there is where he gives his sort of insights into future of Adobe XD and future updates. Speaking of future, podcast number 4 is the future videos. Similar sort of thing to Adobe, but they are on their YouTube channel. They have these great interviews, they have these great long sessions, they have these great tips and tricks, and I really recommend that you give them a like, give them a subscribe, and follow them, because future guys are really pioneers in so many things here on YouTube, especially in this sort of digital world, mostly about typography, but you can pick up some things here and there about web design, about app design. And I really like Chris Do and his interviewing style, because it's really calm and composed, and you can learn a thing or two in every single video that he makes on YouTube. So all of these links I mentioned are going to be down in the description below, so check them out, give them likes, give them subscribes, give them follow, wherever you want to check them out. And also let me know down in the comments, to help out the design community, what other design podcasts do you listen to, and what types of music do you like to listen to while you work. Let me know down in the comments below, and let's see what others like and what others recommend for you guys to check out. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you got some value in it. If you did, make sure to press that like button. I upload new videos every single week on design, passive income techniques, motivation, and more. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.